King William II of England, often referred to as William Rufus, ruled from 1087 until his death in 1100. His reign, though short-lived, was a significant period in English history. William II, the second son of William the Conqueror, inherited the throne of England after the death of his father. Despite his royal lineage and his father's monumental achievements in establishing Norman rule over England, William II's reign was marked by controversy, political instability, and considerable conflict, both within his kingdom and with his Norman territories in France. Unlike his father, who had a reputation for military prowess and astute governance, William II struggled with his popularity, facing constant opposition from the nobility, the church, and his own family. His death under suspicious circumstances in 1100 in a hunting accident only added to the enigma of his life and reign. William II's reign did not feature the great battles or transformative moments that his father's did. Yet his governance left a deep impact on the political and religious landscape of England, shaping the future of the monarchy and its relationship with both the nobility and the church. William II was born in 1056, the second son of William the Conqueror and Matilda of Flanders. He had one older brother, Robert Curthose, who was the Duke of Normandy, and several younger siblings. As a younger son, William was not initially expected to inherit the throne of England. However, his father's death in 1087 set the stage for a bitter succession struggle. Following the death of William the Conqueror, the vast empire he had established, comprising both England and Normandy, was divided between his sons. Robert Curthose inherited the Duchy of Normandy, while William II received the Kingdom of England. This division was made in accordance with the principle of primogeniture, though it was not without controversy. William's older brother, Robert, had long been a rival to him for dominance, and the two brothers had a tense and fractious relationship. This divide between the English and Norman realms created an early source of friction in William II's reign. Although William II's succession to the throne was not contested by the nobles, it was a difficult and tumultuous inheritance. England was still reeling from the shock of the Norman conquest, and William's rule would be marked by efforts to consolidate his father's power and establish his own authority. Unlike his father, William did not possess the same level of diplomatic or military skill that had won him the loyalty of the Anglo-Saxon nobility and church, and he faced significant challenges in maintaining control over both England and his father's Norman territories. From the outset of his reign, William II encountered significant opposition, both from the English nobility and from the church. The nobles, many of whom had been granted land and power by his father, were discontented with the new king's approach to governance. William II was often viewed as a despotic and arbitrary ruler who alienated many of the English nobility. He favored his Norman followers and placed them in key positions of power, reinforcing the Norman domination over England. This favoritism exacerbated tensions between the Anglo-Saxon and Norman factions, causing widespread dissatisfaction. One of the most contentious aspects of William II's reign was his relationship with the church. Under his father's reign, the church had been instrumental in securing Norman rule and stability in England, but William II had a more strained relationship with ecclesiastical authorities. Early in his reign, William clashed with Anselm of Canterbury, the Archbishop of Canterbury, over the appointment of bishops and the king's right to control church lands and revenues. William's attempts to assert his authority over the church were met with resistance, and in 1097 the king was excommunicated by Anselm, who had taken a firm stand against the king's interference in ecclesiastical matters. This conflict with the Church was not an isolated event, but rather a reflection of William II's broader approach to governance. He sought to maintain control over the kingdom's wealth, including the vast estates controlled by the Church, and he was willing to confront the clergy in order to assert his authority. His persistent conflicts with Anselm and the broader ecclesiastical establishment set the stage for tensions between the monarchy and the Church, tensions that would persist throughout the medieval period. Although William II's reign was marked by internal strife, he did manage to engage in military campaigns to defend his kingdom and expand his influence. One of the most notable conflicts during his reign was his ongoing dispute with his brother, Robert Curthose, the Duke of Normandy. In 1091, William launched a military campaign against his brother's lands in Normandy, seeking to assert his authority over the duchy. Although the conflict did not result in a decisive victory for either side, it underscored the instability within the Anglo-Norman Empire and highlighted the ongoing rivalry between the brothers. The conflict between William II and Robert was emblematic of the difficulties William faced in consolidating power and managing the complex relationship between England and Normandy. While William's military campaigns in Normandy were significant, his domestic policies were marked by a greater focus on maintaining control within England. One of his major achievements in this regard was his successful suppression of several uprisings in the north of England. In particular, William II dealt with revolts from rebellious northern lords and the indigenous Anglo-Saxon population, who were still resistant to Norman rule. His actions in the north were often harsh, and his use of force in maintaining order in these regions earned him a reputation for tyranny. William II's reign was also marked by his aggressive consolidation of royal power. One of his most controversial actions was his expansion of the royal forest, a vast network of land reserved for hunting. The royal forest laws, which were enacted under William II's rule, heavily restricted the rights of common people to hunt or gather wood in these areas. Violations of these laws were harshly punished, and many of the local populations, particularly in rural areas, resented the king's policies. These laws were part of William's broader effort to control the land and resources of his kingdom, as he sought to strengthen his personal control over England's natural wealth. The establishment of royal forests and the enforcement of hunting laws reflected a broader shift toward centralized royal authority. William sought to increase the power of the monarchy, and his policies were designed to ensure that the crown had full control over both the land and the resources within the kingdom. While this may have bolstered royal power in the short term, it also created widespread discontent and alienated many of the king's subjects, especially the Anglo-Saxon peasants, who had relied on the land for their livelihoods. William II's reign came to a sudden and controversial end on August 2nd, 1100, when he died under suspicious circumstances while hunting in the New Forest. According to contemporary accounts, William was struck by an arrow while hunting, and his death was widely believed to have been the result of a hunting accident. However, many have speculated that his death was not an accident, but rather an assassination. The identity of William's killer has remained a subject of debate for centuries, with various theories pointing to his brother, Henry, who immediately claimed the throne after William's death. Henry, who would go on to become Henry I of England, was the younger brother of William II and had long been a rival for the throne. William's death conveniently allowed Henry to seize power, and many historians believe that Henry may have played a role in his brother's death, though there is no conclusive evidence to support this theory. Regardless of the circumstances surrounding his death, William II's reign left a significant legacy. His rule, though unpopular and often marked by internal strife, laid the foundation for the eventual centralization of power in the English monarchy. His efforts to consolidate royal authority, expand the forest laws, and control church revenues contributed to the growing power of the monarchy in medieval England. William II's reign was marked by controversy, internal conflict, and a strained relationship with both the nobility and the church. His governance was often characterized by harshness, favoritism towards Normans, and a relentless pursuit of royal power. Although William II's reign did not result in any lasting military triumphs or transformative reforms, it played an important role in the evolution of the English monarchy. William's death in 1100, shrouded in mystery, left the throne to his brother, Henry I, and set the stage for the consolidation of the Norman power in England. While his reign was not popular and was marred by rebellion and opposition, William II's legacy can still be seen in the increasing power of the monarchy and the expanding influence of royal authority in England during the 10th century. Though his reign was short and often tumultuous, William II remains a key figure in the history of England's transition from a divided feudal kingdom to a more centralized monarchy under the later Plantagenets.